Hey everyone. So today we're gonna look at your chart to see what will your spouse's voice sound like. Will they have like a sweet voice? Will their voice be, serenading you to sleep every night? You know, um, Will they have like a really, those people who sound like angry and upset all the time? Even though they mean well, like still like, they always just sound like they're ready to like start an argument. Um, will their voice sound like that? And not only just that, like what their voice will sound like, but you'll also find out uh generally what these people will say while they're speaking. What kind of words will they tend to use? Because actually, um you'll see the combinations here. Certain combinations, they always have like a certain like phrase that they like to use, right? Like when you hear people speak and you always hear them use like these certain words or certain phrases while they speak. You'll see the same thing here. You'll be able to identify like the words that they always choose to use. And you'll be able to see things as well, like what else will they say to you? Will they speak nice things to you? Will they speak positively on like everything that happens? Or will they be like complaining all the time? Will they speak negatively or will they always be insulting other people? So you'll be able to see this uh, from the combinations that we're going to see. So the way we do this to see like the voice and the words that they're going to use, we're going to look at our D1 chart over here. So look at the D1, and more specifically, the seventh house is our spouse's lagna. So this means that the eighth house is actually your spouse's second house, which is your spouse's house of speech. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the planets in eighth house, and from this, we're going to find out how your spouse is going to sound and what kind of words they're going to be using. And it makes a very big difference what sign and different aspects that come onto this. Because I could say like a lot of good things about, Sun or Jupiter or Moon in this eighth house, but if malefics are aspecting this, it's going to change the flavor of the words that they're going to use. Same thing, even with the sign as well. Like I could put Jupiter there and say like this person will have only good things to say, but the sign as well makes a very big difference. Like if Jupiter's in Capricorn, they're not going to be saying as many of the good things as they would normally be saying, like a pure Jupiter. So these things, the sign aspects, they all play a very big role here. And if you don't know or if you need help with any of this, uh, you guys could check out the link in the description for a full consultation. And actually, in celebration of Krishna Janmashtami, which is today, um, all the prices on the marriage and love consultations are 50% off. So you guys could check that out for full consultations one-on-one with me. And if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So let's jump right into this and start with Sun in this eighth house. So you'll see here your spouse, their voice is going to sound a lot more authoritative here. Now, the degree to how authoritative they're going to sound depends on the sign and other aspects here. For example, Sun in Aries, it's going to sound very authoritative. Like they're going to sound very commanding when they speak. Like they're going to have a firm control on this conversation that they're going to have. Um, and you'll see that they'll really like command the energy and command the room with their voice here. Like these are people who are ready to lead others. Like this easily can make like a manager because these people, they're not afraid to like yell at someone and be like, you're really messing this up. Like they're not afraid to go hard on someone, right? And really like break down people who are like troublemakers or aren't cooperating. But at the same time, they could be like soft and be like understanding and respectful to people with this combination. Sun is in his element here and is doing very well and makes them a full leader here. So you'll see with their voice, they'll have it'll be there in two ways. They can, they're not afraid to raise their voice and to like really speak their mind. Like they won't hold back what they're feeling or what's in their minds. Like they'll speak it, and they're not afraid of other people's opinion, and they're not afraid of hurting other people's feelings or, like they don't have this doubt. Like they're in full command with this. So you see, that's when Sun is very powerful here. Um, you'll see this is also true even with when other malefics, more specifically when Mars, like let's say if Sun is not in Aries, but like let's say if Mars aspects this, Mars aspects from here, or even if Rahu aspects the Sun, you'll see that they'll still have this very powerful tone to their voice, right? And like the key thing is that they will really command the room with their voice. Like that's how powerful it is. So you'll see like that's how their voice will sound. You'll also see here when Sun is just alone, with no other influences. So you'll see that Sun here, it makes their voice very clear. Like these are not people who are like afraid to speak or people who are like nervous or have like a low tone kind of like whisper voice or like they don't speak loud. Like that's not these people. These people will have like a natural booming voice and like they could speak to a whole crowd of people and they have like good voice control. So if they are speaking to a large group of people and they don't have like a microphone or somehow some way to amplify their voices, naturally on their own, they could raise the volume of their voice to speak to this giant crowd of like 100 people and still make it so that even the people at the very back could still hear. So these people are very easy to like lead others and like speak like this. At the same time, right, even though like they're capable of speaking like this, you'll see that again, they are able to speak in a softer voice. They know how to control their voice to speak at home as well too. So they have that good control. Um, and yeah, they're able to really like put on discipline if they need. Another thing you'll see with this, you'll see with the words that they'll choose to use. Now, this depends on the sign that comes here. So let's say they're having a conversation with you. You'll see one word that they'll always choose to use. Like if you live in America, these people like use this word all the time. They'll say like, hey, what's up, boss? Like they'll say, how are you doing, boss? Like they'll say that word. They'll use that word boss or while they're speaking, right? You'll see as well when they speak to you, uh, you'll see that they're gonna what they're gonna say here is uh like they're gonna use now this depends on the sign, but this is especially true if Sun is in Leo or if Sun is in Cancer. Uh you'll see that they'll say, you know, uh hi my queen, hi my princess, uh here you go, my royal highness. Like they'll say things like this to you, like they'll speak to you as if you're their like king or queen, whoever you are to them. Um, so they'll speak this way to you, right? Um, like for example, if you ask them for food, they'll be like, "Here you go, my queen," or if it's the other way, like, here you go, my king." Right? Like you'll use your spouse will use these words to communicate with you um in that way. And I said this is especially true in Leo or in Cancer because these are royal signs. They naturally have that extra royalty there. So that's why they're going to say words like king or queen when they speak to you or your highness. Um, right? If you're in India, they'll say like, "Here you go, my Raja, king," um, or Rani for queen, right? So or whatever your language is, they'll say these words, right? So this is how they'll speak. And you know, another thing with this combination as well is that these people are very truthful when they speak. And this is only true if there's not the aspect of Saturn or Rahu on the sun. You'll see that they'll speak very truthfully, and they can also speak very bluntly, but they're not gonna like deceive you or speak like non-truth. Like they're not gonna speak lies to you. This is any this works for any combinations that's not with Sun or not with Saturn and Rahu here. Um, so there you go. That's Sun in eighth house. Let's go on to Moon. So here, you'll see these people, your spouse will naturally have a very soft voice. These people do not like to raise their voice, and they'll sound a lot more quiet in their voice. You'll see that they'll speak very sweetly, and you'll see that these people also get a lot of compliments on their voice. A lot of people will have something to say about their voice here, because they'll be like, "Oh, you know," it's as if like their voice is like their whole personality, and people will say it. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're a very sweet kid or a sweet person because your voice sounds very sweet." So that's what people are gonna say. Um, And yeah, so their voice is going to be very like they're very soft spoken when they speak. Like they do not like to shout or yell. So that's true unless this is like aspected by Mars. But even if aspected by Mars or Rahu, like they won't be able to like really like shout like in a very ferocious way. Like they don't have that kind of ferocity behind their voice. So they're more soft in it. Um, you'll see when these guys are speaking, like they'll say something 1 minute and then the next minute they'll just change their mind and say something else. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the store and buy this thing." And then next minute you check on them, they're just gonna be like on the couch and it'll be like, "What happened?" And they're just like, "Oh, I changed my mind." Like they're always gonna go back on their word like this. And it'll be like you'll just be like, "Why?" Like what you said you were gonna do this and then they don't. So it's like it sounds very weird, right? It sounds weird in that sense. It's like you just said you were gonna do this. So, and what they'll say is they'll be like, I changed my mind, and they'll be like, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do it in the first place. So they'll be very like iffy in their words like that. So they'll always go back on their words, in this way. But yeah, you'll see like their voice, they'll always speak to you in a very like motherly way. Like it'll be in a very soft, comforting way. You know, these guys could also make very good like singers because they could sing in very soft, sweet ways. Like when you guys have like your first child, your spouse will be able to sing very nicely to them. Like they'll be able to calm them down with their nice speech. In a similar way, you know, you can't rely on your spouse to like yell at your like discipline your kid if they did like something wrong. Like they're just not gonna do it. Like these are the type of people you'll be like, "Hey, do you know what your son did today?" And they'll say like, "Oh, they stole this from the store." And they'll be like, "Okay, I need you to go in there and like talk to your son." Like when they go in there, they're gonna, the whole like gag where they close the door and they'd be like, "Okay, your mother expects me to give you a hollering right now, but I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna speak nicely and do this." Like they're not even gonna like yell at them. So like that's what Moon does here. It doesn't like these people just like they don't yell, they don't command, they don't have they just don't have it in them. But you'll see that they'll always be so kind. Everyone will know them as being the kind person, the person who never speaks badly of others. Now, if there's the aspect of Rahu here, like if Rahu aspects this moon, then they could speak it badly, but they won't speak it like loudly. Like they won't speak it for everyone to hear. You'll see they'll be very secretive of it. Um, right? If it's Saturn here, you'll see that they'll speak like they could speak like if Saturn either is with moon or aspects this moon, they could speak like bad things. And these are the people who are like, their voice sounds very soft, but like they could also like say like insult you. You know what this is like? Um um oh, there's another combination. So yeah, like they could say things like that. If Mars aspects this moon, this is where, one minute they'll speak very softly, and then the next minute, like they'll raise their voice and they'll speak a bit more angrily, but still it's not a ferocious anger. And you know what this like that combination, like Mars aspecting moon or with moon, you know what that combination reminds me of? If any of you guys have seen the show Big Bang Theory, it reminds me of Bernadette. You know, like how she's so like sweet and soft spoken. And then like the next minute she's just sounding like a vicious monster. Like that's literally exactly this. Like Mars Moon. Like they could just switch up on you at any moment and then just start, blasting. Like that's what that is. And you'll see here with so with Moon here, the words that they'll generally tend to use, they'll speak nicely about others unless other aspects are here. Um, you'll see that these people they'll when they speak to you, they'll always say like, "Here you go." Like again, if you ask them for food, here, oh, like this is perfect. So let's say here, Moon exalted in this sign. If you ask them for food, they'll be like, "Here you go, my princess." Here, or if it's the other way, "Here you go, my prince." Um, they'll say these words to you. They'll use like this royalty when speaking to you. Um, so they'll speak to you in a very kind and nice way. So there you go. So that's Moon in eighth house here. Okay. So that's Moon. Let's move on to Mars. So Mars here. So what will this person's voice sound like? You'll see that these guys, these guys could really like speak in a authoritative tone. Like these people, these are the type of people where you'll feel safe going out with them. Because when you're in public with them, these guys, like they'll take care of you. Like they don't take any nonsense from other people. So like these people they'll always stand up for you. Like they'll always be protective of you. And it'll be reflected in their voice. They'll be like, no, 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 no. Like, my wife said that, you know, this was the price and you didn't pay them. I will need you to pay them. Like they will stand up for you when they speak. So they're very protective in their speech and they'll always like look out for you. You'll see that this will be true as well. Um, uh, you'll see that they're always looking out for you in that way. Let's put Moon here. Um, or not Moon. Let's put the sign Taurus here. You'll see that these guys, one thing that they'll always do when they're gonna go get food, they'll always ask you. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm going out to get food. Do you want anything? Like here, I'm going to the grocery market. Uh, is there anything you want? Is there like a sweet or something you want me to pick you up?" They'll always ask you on their way out if you want something here. Um, so they always have this where they're looking out for you and always thinking about what they could do for you here. So that's like the sweet aspect of like Mars here, where it's like they really like it's like they're like a older brother here. They're always like, okay, here, let me look after you. They'll always ask you, they'll be like, okay, do you have any food here? Like they'll ask you, okay, what do you want to eat? And they'll actually make the food for you as well. So you'll see that with these guys. They'll be very like kind and very well, they'll all kind is one way to say it. They'll always be looking out for you. in that sense. So you'll see that's what Mars will do there. You'll see that if Mars is in a fiery sign here, like if Mars is in Aries, for example, his own sign, you'll see that these people they'll get upset very quickly and they'll like uh the words that they'll tend to use will be very rough in nature. Like these people, they'll be like cursing you out, swearing, like they don't care. Like they'll say like a swear word like every other word in their sentence. Like every single sentence will at least contain one swear word in it. Like some kind of profanity that they'll include here. If Mars is in a fiery sign or if Mars is with Rahu, you'll see that they'll always drop like some F bombs and everything while they speak. Um, so you'll see that, but you'll see that these guys as well, in any fire sign. So Mars and Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You'll see that these guys are really good leaders. Like again, these people are really good at commanding others in like the workplace or wherever they are. Like their voice like cuts through everybody. You'll see that they'll have like a very sharp voice. It's as if like their voice is like a sword. Like it really like cuts through everyone or has like a very it could be like a high pitched voice as well with this. Depending on the signs and like aspects. I've seen this where like let's say Mars Ketu is here, their voice will be extremely sharp, or even if they're like outside talking to somebody, let's say if they're like a you know I don't know, younger or something. They're just outside hanging out. If they're like speaking, you'll be able to hear them from inside your house because their voice is just that sharp and like it's so easy to pick up their voice from like all the other sounds that are just around. Um, yeah. You'll see that these guys as well, when they speak, the words that they'll tend to use, they'll always be like, "Hey, bro," like they'll use that word "bro," "Hey, brother," when they're speaking. Um, like they're those kind of guys. Like that's the word that they'll use when they speak. This is when Mars is in like a good sign. Like this is like Mars and Gemini will say this, like, "Hey, bro," "Hey, brother." Same thing even with Aquarius. He'll say that. Um, yeah, so that's Mars. Mars, Mercury. So Mercury in this house. You'll see that these guys, you'll see that your spouse, first of all, is very talkative. Like these guys are so social, and these are the guys who it's like, like when a party's done and you guys are like ready to leave, like these are the guys who keep like talking to someone in a conversation. And you guys you'll just be there like waiting for them because they'll like keep the conversation going. And that's one good thing about them is that, they can make a conversation with anybody. So like if you and your spouse go to like a party or an event or something, like they'll be able to talk to anybody. Like they just, like that's what's really good about them is that they know how to make a conversation with any type of person. So let's say if a person is very like quiet or very, like to themselves, like your spouse will know how to speak in a way that like matches them. They're not going to be loud or rowdy to these people. They'll match their energy with their voice. So I would say that's what's really, really good about these people. They understand how to speak with anybody. They also understand how to speak with people who are like a bit more rough. Like they understand the lingo and they could like they understand the words that will work well with these people. They understand how to speak to like their bosses. So it's as if like they're able to pick up on the energy that's in that conversation and match it. And they know how to perfectly like the words to use and the like what will be well received in this particular conversation. So that's right. That's really good, and that's not something that everybody could do. So you'll see that, and yeah, you'll see it with these people. Uh, the, these are the people who, when you get on a phone call with them, like they'll be on for like a few hours because they'll just keep going and going. Um, because yeah, they're just very talkative people. They're like generally they're extroverted unless this is aspected by Saturn or Ketu here. So yeah, you'll see that also when your spouse speaks to you, they'll always be speaking in a very joking way. This is especially true if Mercury's like in the sign of Gemini. You'll see that they'll always be saying a lot of jokes. And you'll see that so here these are very like childish jokes. Like these are people who like speak with like a lot of puns uh in every like sentence. Like they love to make jokes, and even when like let's say if they're on Instagram with you, like they always send you memes of like jokes or like puns or like something with humor. You'll um see that if Mercury's in Sagittarius here, you'll see that they'll speak a lot more like you'll see that they'll sound like extremely smart. You'll see that people will often say this, like they'll just speak to like your spouse one time and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, this person is like very smart." Like they'll catch on by the words you'll use because these people speak with a lot of wisdom or knowledge here. Um, you'll see if Mercury's like in Aries here, or if Mercury's aspected by Mars, you'll see here that these people are extremely quick, like with their jokes and with their comebacks. You'll see that with these people, if somebody, let's say if someone's just talking, the people who always have like what's that joke? That's what she said. Like these people will come up with those that's what she said at like with like any like not with anything, but they'll come up with it at very like clever times and very quickly. It's like you'll say something and and they'll just be able to come up with a quick comeback for this. And you'll be like, how did you even think of that? It works so well, but I don't know how you came up with that like so quickly. So you'll see these quick people have like a very quick wit, especially if this is also aspected by Mars. You'll see if Mercury is aspected by Rahu here, let's say Rahu is over here. So you'll see that these people, they'll be very good at like making complex jokes that have like a couple of layers to it. Like those jokes that like or those stories that have like a lot of complexity to it. Um, like those jokes that have like three, four steps or layers to it. That's these people who are able to like come up with very complicated and very like technical jokes. Um, You'll see like the way that they speak too, they'll be like extremely like clever. Like when you hear these people speak, like even if you hear them speak for like the first time or hear just like one sentence or one conversation with them, like you'll know that these guys will be like, oh wow, this guy like he's very and it's not like smart like school smart. It's like they're very clever in the way that they speak. It'll be like, oh yeah, this guy could like really get me with this kind of joke or whatever. Like it's a very clever way of speaking that they have. Um, so yeah, you'll see that as well with Mercury here. Um, they'll speak in a very playful way, which is really nice. Like it's every time that they like speak to you, it's as if like they're playing with you. Like on a soul level, it's as if like every time they speak, they want to play or really, like engage or have fun with you. These are not the people who like should be taken seriously. Uh, like these are not the people to be having in a very serious, intense situation, because these are the people who will make a joke at like the worst time, and you'll be like, really, man, this is not the time to be saying a joke, you know? Like these are the type of people who will like make it a joke at a funeral. It's like. This is not the right place to be making a joke, you know? So so you'll see that's what you'll also like hear, right? There's a lot of good and uh you'll see that with them here. Um so this is a fun conversation. I promise you with this combination, unless aspected by like malefics, uh you'll have a lot of fun speaking with these guys. You'll always be laughing or having a good time. Okay, so Mercury, let's go Venus. So you'll see with these people, the noteworthy thing with these guys is that their voice will be very sweet. Like naturally, the people who, when you hear them like speak and like it sounds like they naturally have like a singing voice. Like that's these people here. It'll be like, oh, you're really nice to like listen to. Um, like that's these people where it's like when they speak, they like people actually like will listen and enjoy like hearing what they have to say. Because like something about their voice is so like soothing, and you'll see with these people as well, they speak with a lot of positivity, and this is true if it's not aspect by Saturn or Rahu or even Ketu here, or Mars. Okay, so if it's aspected by any malefic, then it won't exactly be true, but Venus on his own or Venus with other benefics, you'll see that they'll speak like they'll speak a lot of positive words here. Um, You'll see that with these people, you know what I notice? People with Venus, you'll notice that your spouse, they'll speak with a lot of sarcasm. They really like using sarcasm when they speak. Like for example, it would be like, like if you're driving home and like your spouse asks you to be like, okay, get home quickly, and you'll be like, what do you think I'm doing? Like they'll say it like that. It'll be like in a joking way, it'll be like, it'll be like, okay, uh get home soon, and it'll be like, what do you think I've been doing this whole time? Like they'll be like sarcastic like that. They'll love to use like sarcasm with anything. Um, so, you know, that's a good thing, right? So it will be like well received, and people will enjoy speaking to these people, and they won't be as extroverted as like Mercury here, but you'll see that these people they still will in like they'll enjoy talking to people, but they won't like seek people out as often as just Mercury here. Um, yeah. So you'll see that these people as well, these people actually will like serenade you with songs. Like these people naturally will have like a singing voice, and they probably will be able to actually sing or um like understand music so that they can sing or hum to you. They might even play like an actual instrument for you. Now it depends on the sign here. If Venus is actually in like Gemini, then they actually will like sing to you here. Um, so they'll have like a very like sweet voice. Um, you'll see as well, like if Rahu aspects this, let's say if Rahu is like over here or something. So here, nope, not there. If Rahu is here and aspects Venus, um, you'll see that these people will be extremely clever. Like they'll speak and they'll be um, like the sarcasm that they'll use will be very clever in the way that they're speaking it. Um, you'll see that they'll speak in a very like they'll sound very like smart. People will be like, oh, this guy is like clever, smart. Um, let's see. So you'll see that uh that's with Venus here. You'll see that Um, these people will throw out a lot of compliments. Assuming this is not aspected by a malefic or is in a malefic signs, you'll see that they'll compliment people a lot. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you're let's put Venus in Libra here. You know what they'll say, like they'll always compliment your looks or your what is it, your fashion sense. They'll be like, "Oh, I really like this combination that you're wearing, this pants and this shirt." Um they'll they'll be you'll see that, let's say if in Taurus, Venus and Taurus here, you'll see that they'll always be like, "Oh yeah, I really like your makeup." Like they'll compliment you on your appearance with this combination. So they'll compliment you on different things based on like what the sign is over here. You'll see that um like the words that they'll use, right? I already said it for like Taurus. If it's Venus and Taurus, they'll be like, "Oh, I really like your earrings or your like your makeup," or if they really are straightforward, they'll be like, "I really like your face." You know, the like that's what they'll these are things that they could say. So they'll compliment you on different things. Like here, Venus in Gemini, they'll be like, "Oh, I really like this bookcase that you have," or they'll say something like, "I really like your writing style, the way that you write." So they'll compliment you on different things. Venus and Taurus, they'll compliment you with your job, your profession. Um, yeah, but Venus in Capricorn here, they won't be as positive while they're speaking. Like Venus with the influence of Saturn here, they won't speak as many positive things here. They may be a bit more serious in their tone. Like they still have a little bit of like lightheartedness, but still it'll be more serious in tone there. So that's Venus. Venus, then Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter in this house, you'll see that your spouse, this is what everybody will say about them. You'll see that they'll be like, "Wow, your spouse is extremely wise." It's as if while they're speaking, they're always giving advice to other people. And you'll see even with you too. You know, you'll see that any problem you have, you could always ask your spouse, even if you don't ask them, even if you're just like talking to them, they'll always give advice. They'll be like, "Oh, you could do it, you could do this, you could do it this way. Here, I know, here's a way that could help." Like these people will always have a way or suggestions for you to help with your whatever your issue is. Now, you know, this could go in a good or bad way. Some people, like when they speak to other people, they'll be like, "Okay, you could do it this way. Like here's something that could help you out." And other people will be very grateful for this because they'll be like, "Oh, okay, your spouse is very like knowledgeable and helpful." Right? So that's like one key thing. You'll see that anytime that they speak, they'll be very helpful for other people. Other people, they always they'll speak in a way that always will benefit other people. Like they don't mean harm to other people. Like they don't want to hurt anybody with their speech. So you'll see that they'll always um, speak in a way that like helps others. Now, apparently, from what I heard, like if you're a female and your spouse is a male, apparently from what I heard, like girls don't always like hearing solutions to all the problems that they have. Uh, but so maybe in that case, you may not like hearing, advice for every single thing you hear. But otherwise, this is actually a really good combination. Um, You'll see that as well. These people are like they are not capable of like hurting other people's feelings or like speaking ill about someone. Like these people do not speak about others behind their back. Like they don't insult people. They don't criticize others. Now, this is true if this Jupiter's not aspect by malefics. But even if Jupiter is aspect by Malefic, still he won't speak in a very bad way unless it's like this Jupiter's like annihilated here. Like if this Jupiter's like in Capricorn, aspected by like Saturn and like Rahu, um, not there. Like Saturn and Rahu here, and Mars. Sure, let's add Mars here. You'll see, like, okay, in this case, this Jupiter has like no benefic help whatsoever. Okay, now in this case, then this person may not speak positively, but it really takes a lot for these people to really like speak badly about others. Um, so you'll see that these people as well, when they speak, they're always the optimists. Like they're always like, even though this happens, like you could get into a car crash and they'd be like, let's look at a positive side here. You'll at least, get some insurance money out of this. You know, you know, like your car could be completely like destroyed and totaled, and they'll be like, on the bright side, you'll at least get a new vehicle, assuming this one isn't is destroyed enough. If this, to always look at like the bright side with everything. So you'll see like it's kind of like refreshing to be with them because they'll always speak something nice or something positive, right? Um, yeah, but and you'll see these people like the advice that they're giving, like they could even give advice even if they've never been in that situation in this lifetime, but they could do that because they've been through those situations in past lifetimes because these people have a lot of experience. So in many lifetimes, they've gone through so much that they've gotten the wisdom on how to deal with it. And so that's why when they give advice for like a situation that they've never been in, like they know exactly, like the advice will be good because it's like it's an actual like practical solution that you could use to help you with your situation because they had that experience for many, many lifetimes. They've been through it all in past lifetimes and they know how to advise you to get through it. That is Jupiter here. Um, you'll see that let's do so that's Jupiter. Okay, Saturn. Okay, so Saturn here. You'll see with these people, they are not like they are not extroverted people. Like they do not like they will tend to not go in like big crowds and start like a conversation. Like these people when they speak, they like they don't like being surrounded by like a lot of people or being like the center of attention when they speak. They'd be like, okay, when I speak, like I'd rather like have a one-on-one with somebody, you know, or depending on the combination, if the Saturn's like in Scorpio, then these people they'll say like, I'd rather just not speak to anybody in the first place, you know. Um, so these guys, they're not the ones they prefer to kind of, stay with themselves and not go out there. You'll see with these guys as well when they speak, they speak with experience. Like they'll speak negatively about things. Like like these are the people who will they'll always be like let's say you're going on a vacation. Like these are the type of people who will always say, "Oh, did you get this and that? Did you prepare everything? Did you?" They always prepare for like a if something goes wrong. So they'll be like, "Oh, like what if it rains and we can't set up like our camping like our tent or whatever?" They'll always be like, "Okay, like do you have a backup?" They'll always be like, "Okay, what happens, what happens if we can't book this hotel? What happens if they always have that what if situation. So they'll always be saying something like that. And there's a reason that they're saying this kind of stuff. They'll be like, okay, are you ready for it all? And it's because in past lifetimes they actually have gone through these situations and it it wouldn't have been like positive situations. So they would have gone through a lot of like issues or you know they would have gone through these situations where they should have done something like they should have packed like uh like an extra sleeping bag or tent or something, but they didn't in like a past lifetime. And because of that, they like suffered or like they had like a really bad experience. So any time that they say these kind of things, it's because they've been through it. Like subconsciously in their mind, they've had so many lifetimes where they've been through so many things and they just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So when they're preparing you for this kind of stuff, it's really so that you don't go through what they went through. Even if in this lifetime it really doesn't look like they've been through all these things, in past lifetimes they have. So they're speaking this not in a sense so like they like hurt anybody, but it's so that people are ready. Um, yeah, because they have that experience. And you'll see that these people, when they speak as well, they'll speak in a so it could sound negative, but they're speaking in a very philosophical way. Like they'll say things that are like, um um let's say if you're going on vacation and you're going to like a you have a choice to either rent a room that has like a let's say you're going on vacation to like a convention. Um so they'll be like, you have the choice to rent a room that has like a beautiful view of like the ocean or like the water side, and you get to see like sunsets on this water side, or you have the option to rent like a room that doesn't have this view, and that's a little bit cheaper because of that. You'll see that these people, they'll choose, um, they'll choose to not get the expensive room. Like they won't get the room with the view. And that's because they'll be like, they'll be like, we don't really need this. It's not very necessary. They'll be like, they'll be like, we won't even be in the room to, really take advantage of this view. We'll just be here first thing in the morning and just before we go to sleep. So they'll say this and they'll speak philosophically. They'll be like, you know, they'll be like, will you really in this trip, will you really get as much fulfillment out of like the room, or will you really get the fulfillment out of the convention center? Like they'll speak in a more philosophical way. And it might sound negative to other people, but Uh, again, they're speaking this because they've gone through these things in a past life, and out of experience, they're like, uh, they they know that they understand a bit more, like what'll really bring you happiness and satisfaction, like internally. Like imagine speaking to like an old person, like a very old person, like a think of like a 95-year-old like wise old man or something. Um, so like they'll give you like that advice. It may not be always what you want to hear, but it's like solid advice from somebody who's been through everything. You'll see as well. Let's say if the Saturn is aspect by Jupiter, he'll really, really like pump out like the philosophical like why you'll always see that these people. So let me, but here's so Saturn, Jupiter. They'll really be like, you know, they'll speak philosophically to everybody and they'll be like, why are we really like on this planet? Why are we working so hard? Like, what is the end goal of our life? What is the, will we really derive happiness out of this or that? That's something that they really will like say a lot. It's like, will this really make me happy? And they'll really ask themselves this and ask you, right? So they'll say these things and they'll say a lot of things that make you think. So that's really good with Jupiter or with Saturn here. Um, so one good thing, at least, is that if you're introverted, then your partner will also be introverted. because your partner here they will not like to go to big like crowds and speak. So this will work very well if you're also introverted and don't like to, go to those big things. Um, yeah. So that's Saturn and just Rahu Ketu. So Rahu over here, you'll see with Rahu in this house, you'll see that these people, you'll see that these people, whenever they speak, uh, they'll be very tricky with the words that they'll use. Like these are the type of people who will be like, you know, if you ask them for like their job, they'll be like, "Oh, they'll say in one line, I do this," and then, um, uh, like they'll say like, "I do carpentry" or something, and then, people will say this, and then they'll be like, uh. They'll like keep some of it to themselves. Where it's like, I'll tell them a part of the answer, but I won't tell them everything. So they'll be very like tricky and that type of thing. Like they'll say things that's like, I said I did carpentry, but um, uh, it'd be like that's not all I do. You just assume that that was it. Like I also do this and that. So you'll see that when they speak, they won't tell the whole story when they speak. There'll always be some detail of like a story that they're not saying. Like if you talk to them about like yourself, you'll see that um they'll like if you ask your spouse and be like I want to know everything about you, you definitely won't get like all the details or like know everything. You'll get you'll get some stuff, and some of that stuff, may or may not even be true, but it'll be like a very tricky way of speaking. Now, this isn't always a bad thing. I know it probably sounded like it, but you'll see that these guys, this is really good for people who like are in business. So if your spouse is doing like some kind of business, this is actually really good because you know why this works? Because when people try to sell you things and they don't tell you all the clause or like all the things that are like in the fine print, that's these guys who would be like, "Oh yeah, here's your credit card." And it'd be like, "Here's this credit card I'm selling you." It would be like, "Oh yeah, what I forgot to mention was that, uh, we take there's like, you know, I don't know, like 12% interest or something like that. Like that's how they'll do. So you'll see that these guys are really good in business. Like these are the type of people you want uh for like a business, right? So like if this is your spouse, just know if they are in a business, they're probably doing a good job because, they could get away with things like that. You'll see as well, these people, they're very clever and very smart. Um, you'll see that like these people, if you're watching like a movie or something, they'll already know the direction of like this movie. They'll be like, okay, I bet they'll be like so clever that they'll know exactly like the plot that's gonna happen. They'll be like, I bet this side character is somehow gonna come back and make a very big reveal or very big like showing in this movie. Um, like they're very clever and they're very intelligent in that way. Um, yeah. And you'll see it as well with these people, like let's say Rahu is in like a Mercury sign like Gemini. You'll see that these people, when they speak, you'll see that they'll always be like, they'll always say like I'm kidding when they talk, because they'll be like, oh, here they'll tell you something and it won't be true, and then they'll be like, yeah, I was just kidding, that's not true. Um, so you see like that, like this case, like they'll be like doing it in a joking way. Um, You'll see that. You'll see as well, these people, they will like they will look out for you. Like that's the good thing with this, where it's like, if anyone's giving you a hard time, like these people will stand up for you and be like, no, 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 like you can't get away with this. So like that's definitely a plus. Like let's say if like you ordered like, I don't know, fries at McDonald's or something, and you ordered like a large fries and they gave you like an extra small or something like that. They would stick up for you and be like, no, 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 I expect like we ordered this. And then not only that, they'll be like, since you messed up our order, we want something extra. So you'll see that like this is really good from them. They'll be able to like earn you extra things like this. They'd be like, no, 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 uh you're throwing like a free this thing or that thing. So you get a lot of free things from them. So that's really good. Like you'll earn a lot of free things, especially free food from these guys. So that's good. Um, yeah, and as well, they also understand how to work around those kind of like agreements or like fine print stuff. They know how to work around it so they could get you free things all the time. So you'll see that when they're talking to somebody on the phone, they'll be like, hey, I read like this and this thing, and I know you owe me uh you owe me a free like golfing t-shirt or something because I like we subscribe to this or that. Like they understand how to get these things out of people. So that could definitely be good. Like they know how to exploit those kind of things. So that'll definitely work out in your favor too. Oh, you know what this is good for? Like if you're shopping on like Amazon or something, like they know how to get all those free things or get all those things that are like on a deal. And like they know how to work around it so that, if you order something, let's say if you just wanted to order like one, I don't know, like gift or something, like they know how to get you one additional free thing out of this. So that's really good. If you want to go shopping or something, get these guys to go with you. Like bring your spouse with you, and you'll see that these guys will always negotiate. Like they're extremely good at negotiating and getting you these free things. Like, what you should do? You should go to like a really like fancy mall or something. And then when you're at this mall, bring them in with you and have them like haggle the salesperson. You'll see that it'll always work out in your favor. Like you'll get all your stuff on like with a certain discount or like they'll throw in a free thing for you. Like especially, what'll be good is if you want to like buy a car, like go to like this car dealership with these guys and you'll see that they'll haggle the car salesman so that literally they'll throw in so many free things for you and so many things at like a discounted price. You'll see it'll be great when you guys go in with these guys. So yeah, that's Rahu here. Okay. So that's Rahu. Last one is Ketu. So these guys' voice, it'll be like more of a low tone. And it's not like a sweet like it's not like it's not like a sweet soft whisper like how Moon gives. It like this is a voice that like cannot speak loudly. Like no matter how they try, like they don't speak like very loud. So so you'll see like if people really want to like hear them, like everybody else has to get like really quiet to hear them. Because you see like they'll be like mumbling or saying something quietly. Um You'll see with these people too, they won't like to go in like a big crowd and speak to like, 10 or more people at a time. They'll be a lot more introverted in nature. Um, you'll see with these guys as well, they'll also speak now depending on the sign here. So let's say if like K2, let's say put K2 in his best position in Pisces. You'll see that these people they'll speak a lot more like philosophically and in a way that's like they'll say like uh do we really need this item here? Or like they'll speak about a lot of spiritual topics, like spiritual things about like the other world or like aliens or like other dimensions. Like they'll speak about these kind of things. Like that'll be like the kind of thing that they'll speak about a lot. Um, here. You'll see that if you ever ask these people, generally they'll be like, no, 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 I don't really need this or that. Like if you ask them, like, let's put Ketu in Taurus, you'll see that if you ask them, oh, do you need any food? They'll be like, no, 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 I'm good. Like they don't require, they'll say that they don't require these things with that. Um, so you'll see that Ketu here, uh, they won't speak as much, and it's because like, and they'll speak they either won't speak as much or they'll speak quietly or both. Uh, and you'll see the reason is because in a past life, the way that they have spoken, it didn't really help them out. Like anytime they spoke, it like got them in trouble or like let's put like Ketu here in Scorpio. You'll see that in a past life when they spoke, it got them in trouble or it got them into like a very precarious situation. And so you'll see in this life, they'll generally choose not to speak as much. They'll be very quiet. If you ask them about their childhood, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't really like talk as much like as a kid." And this is if K2's truly in the eighth house. Like if your spouse is not like if they're not saying that, then K2 is not in this eighth house. Like K2 in this eighth house, your spouse, if it's actually there, your spouse will not have spoken much as a kid or would have been very quiet well like as a kid um and if that's not true then your K2 is not actually in this eighth house because that it has to be that way um so um yeah so you'll see that with K2 here but yeah generally like they won't like these people at least a good thing like even when they're angry they won't yell at you. So that's like a positive here. Like they won't express, even if they're like really sad, they won't like speak down on you. They won't insult you either. They they'll see that they'll kind of just like choose not to say any of these things. So in a good sense, you'll never like you don't have to worry about someone who gets like blown up by anger or is speaking in a very depressing way or in a very sad way or is insulting others or speaking negatively. These people just choose to like not speak and they'll be neutral in their speech too. You'll see that they won't take one side or the other. They'll be like I don't know. They'll be they'll understand both sides and they would say things for both sides, but they won't explicitly like choose a side to agree with. So they'll be very neutral in this kind of way. And again, it's because in a past life they did make this choice and they were like, okay, I choose this person, and then it didn't work out for them. And they understand this. They understand that choosing one side, they understand that um, by choosing one thing, like you can't make everybody happy. So by choosing one, you make one person happy or one person upset, you know. So by accepting neutrality, these people will either, I mean, either they're neutral for like both the people being neutral or everybody's just going to be upset you know but they won't they explicitly won't choose a side and you'll see here like they'll have that neutrality throughout um so there you go. That is all the planets here in in an eighth house here, and hopefully that gives an idea of what your spouse is going to sound like and the words that they'll generally try to use. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and check out the links below for a consultation while they're on sale. Uh, so yeah, thank you.